Yakuza 0. Yakuza. The most popular Yakuza game. Why? It is really good. And I think something just about Zero kind of speaks to people. You know, you think of yen, you think of, okay, this is Japan, Japanese. Zero sounds cool, it has a Z in it. They had a plane called Zeros, right? I don't know, this one oddly stands out a lot more to people versus the other ones, which is weird, because, like, I think it's just a mentality. Like, I like this one, it's really good. But I don't know if I can say that it's better than the others, because they all are kind of the same. Like, I'm more biased towards 6 for reasons, but I mean, it's probably safe to say 0 is probably a close second. I mean, everyone's gonna have their different favorites because there's just so many, and they are different in just enough ways to favor one more than the other. But generally, when people think of Yakuza, they think of 0. They think, I know it's gotten exposure before. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it is really good. Like, it's I think it's a very nice middle ground between all the games. And it's funny because it's 0, it's supposed to be like technically the first one as it goes up. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, maybe it depends on how you play these two. Most people are going to start with 0 because they know, okay, there's like, well, X amount of games. Oh, let's start from the bottom. So that makes sense. And okay, it has Bakimitai. It's like a really nice mix of the newer ones. Newer, however you wanna... It's kind of confusing. And the older ones, because it's not quite up to that par of the more modern takes on Yakuza, but it's just old enough to blend really well. Between when the game was made and the time period it's in, I will give him the fact that it was just a really good traditional take on Yakuza. And I think when a lot of people, I love Japan today, I really do, modern Japan, but something about, like, what, 20 years ago, for example, I mean, 90s, early 2000s, maybe even the 80s, I think that we've all gotten a lot of exposure to that time era of Japan, like all the movies, the technology that kept coming out, the game consoles. It was just a really nice time for them. I think a lot of that's kind of chilled out, but it's still very relevant. You know, we're thinking game consoles, we're thinking just the media, the movies that came out, the anime. Like, there was so much happening for Japan at this time. And granted, this has always been relevant to them. But I do think in 0 it does shine quite a bit. Like, it's, when you go to places, it's very authentic. The lighting is very good, it's very believable, it's very real, it's still a little gritty and kind of that old school, you know, I don't know. Like, a modern take on Japan is more like, you know, the newest Yakuza games where, you know, a lot has changed, but nothing's really changed. But it's all shiny and polished and pretty and all these things, but in this game you do get a little bit of that dark and but not too dark. Not like, I think some other games did that a little bit more versus this one. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it was a cool time. And for someone that was basically a kid during around this time, right? Like, okay, maybe not around this time specifically in this game, but you know, even I know as a kid and stuff and a baby, seeing pictures from back then and seeing how things really were, and obviously I was too young, but it was just a very, like, you know, things are changing. It was right in that middle ground of between when there's just more lights on in the world, people are spending more money, the economy, right? And they really emphasize that here in the game. Very big booming economy. You actually get more money in this game than you do all the other games, which is kind of funny, but yeah, I mean, when you put zero, when you think of all these little things, that is why this game is popular, and I get it. But as far as the story's okay, what things there are to do, a lot of that is just very, very similar to the other games. But I think people really do focus on more of the human, real time aspect of it, and that's why this game stands out above the rest. I get it. But yeah, I'm personally more of a fan of the newer ones, because I living in the present today and recent, new, all those things really kind of capture me. But yeah, so those are the reasons to love the game more than the others. This is a good entry point. For me, it really doesn't matter what game you play first. I started with 6, worked my way back, went back in time, kind of shifted all over the place, but that was fun about it, was because, like, hey, I've never been to Japan, I've never lived there, I've never visited even. You know, I was only a kid back then when a lot of these games were kind of taking place. And it was just really cool either way, no matter what, to just kind of not only get a glimpse and a tour and a simulation of this country that I've kind of grown up loving my whole life, but to also see it in all these different time periods where, you know, you got to see kind of where it started, where it's now. I think it's kind of cool, everything in between. Yeah, you just get so much out of the game. Like, you get to just enjoy it and watch it grow and develop and evolve. You know, it's not just a simple, like, hey, it's a Japan walking around site tourism, even though it's basically one city with a few places here and there, right? But it's so much more than that. It really is like just pure culture, pure fun. You know, whether you're doing story stuff or sub-story stuff or walking around, mini games, fighting, combat, completing the completion list, you know, leveling up, upgrading, getting different weapons, picking up cool, there's so much to do. And they really emphasize that too, because, like, I just assume when you go to Japan, there's a lot of cool shit to do. I can imagine just be all over the place. I'm gonna get something out of a vending machine. I'm gonna go to a ramen shop. I'm gonna go to the mall. I'm gonna go to the park. I'm gonna go watch a movie. I'm gonna, I don't know, just anything you want. It's dreamland. But yeah, this is a big one. I've kind of forgotten what order I have played these games in at this point, but I don't know. I think whether you play this last, play it first, maybe this is the only one that you play. This one may as well be that one. But yeah, I don't really put it above the others necessarily, or... It's just a good safe choice. It's a good, you know, introduction to it. It's a good starting point. So that's kind of the big deal of this game versus the others. Which is cool, because it's like, well, in every franchise, you gotta have one game at least that stands out above the rest if you're trying to pump out all these other ones, you know? Because I think in every game, in every series, and everything, every artist, everything, you know, work that these people do, there's always a one-hit wonder song, all that stuff. This is kind of Yakuza's baby. This is Sega's baby. This is their thing. This is it. But it's really neat though, because since this is as good as it is, this can very well make you want to play the other ones. This holds a flame so much by itself that I think once you play this one, I think life itself can go in any direction. This is what's gonna put you in the mood to watch some anime. Maybe you're watching anime and it puts you in the mood for Yakuza. Maybe you're just feeling cultured one day. Maybe you want to play something different. Maybe, I don't know, there's so many reasons to play this versus not playing it. It's, I don't know. And I think anyone can enjoy it. Anyone can try it out, whether you're like a big fan of what this game's trying to do or not. It's just a fun, different, weird, strange, odd, funny, action-packed, story-driven, heavy narrative, serious, non-serious, comedic game. I think when you think of a game, you think of like, hey, I want to do what I want. Don't limit me. Don't like force me. Don't, you know, I'm the one in control. I'm the one playing the game. It's up to me. It's my choice, my decisions. That's what you can do in this game. That's what you can do in all these Yakuza games. It's not just simply an open world game. It's... Instead of this open world where everything's kind of spread out and diluted and flooded everywhere, it's just... You take all that and put it into Kamurocho. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can get drunk, dude. You can just eat all day. Go to all the restaurants, sip on... Dude, it's the possibilities are limitless. Yeah, one thing I'll give this game quite a bit of credit for when when it all comes down to it is cutscenes are really good.
この街で喧嘩ならちゃんと相手を選べ。大金持ち歩いてるときは特にな。
I think the story itself is a little... Like, a lot of these stories I don't really care, or I don't really understand, or whatever. Like, I won't lie about that. It's interesting. It really draws you in. It's like watching a drama. You're kind of like, you know, ooh, what's happening? Ooh, this is interesting. Ooh, I may not understand, but I like it. But it is kind of funny though, in its own weird, twisted way, how they're so serious about something so stupid in my mind, but they don't make fun of it, or they don't make light of it like they would in, like, you know, an adult animation comedy show or something, right? Like taking these serious kind of things that do happen and are real and that are very much a thing, very believable for all we know. but interpreting it in a way where, you know, this is some serious heavy shit. And I don't know, it's just kind of like, what, a conundrum? Yeah, that's just me though. But aside from that, because each game is different, they offer different mini games, they offer different things to do, different people, quite a bit of different everything. They have their main resources, and then they have their ones that are more disposable. Hey, let's change this person out for this person, whatever. But maybe it's the exact same scenario or slightly different. But the mini games they had in here, they're all good. They're not even like, okay, there's a couple good ones. They left a couple out that might be frustrating. Like in other games, they've definitely done that before. Like, hey, this is like, this and this and this and this are really cool. And then in another game, they'll have this and this, but they won't have that and that. So everything they offered in this game is just right where it needs to be. All for you to have a good time and try out and mix it up, do different things. Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing a little bit more about the development of this one. Like, why did they choose this one? How did it come to be where it is now, and just why? Because you'd think they care so much about each game individually that there would have been this type of whatever this is in every game, but somehow it's all concentrated here. And I don't know how they did it. It's pretty impressive how they took such a big, complicated, simple formula, but they executed it so well here versus the others. Yeah, I mean, even the devs and all that, right? Everyone who's worked on the game, they know that this is the most popular one. They know that this made the most sales. They know that people like this the most. But just that mentality, like, how do you work around, like, did they know that this was gonna blow up as big as it did, or were they maybe hoping, I don't know, just asking weird questions, like, were they maybe hoping this maybe have went into a different game, but it didn't work out that way? I don't know. Just getting into the minds of not only the developers, but the, you know, the voice actors, Kiryu Majima. But yeah, they just nailed it here with the music. Not only did they have all these things that are kind of in other games, but what they had here specifically, even, you can break it down as much as you want. Everything they did here just kind of worked really well. And saying all that, it doesn't still make me favor this over the others, but it does make me hold it in high regards, because I know what this game's capable of. So yeah, because you never know how someone's going to tackle this series, you know? Are they going to start with the later ones like I did? Are they going to start with Kiwami instead of Zero for some reason, because it's like technically number one? Did they play the originals? Did they play these versions of them? You know? So it's just good to make it a point where no matter how, you know, how old you are, where you come from, how you tackle this series, if you even care about it, this is the game to start with Yakuza if you're interested. Wouldn't hurt to play this first before the other ones. There you go. Yeah, I'd love to like either get back into the game and maybe do some more stuff I never did. I think I did end up playing this twice, though. I'm not particularly sure, because I remember playing a lot of this pretty early on, and then I think I started up a new game later for reasons, but it has replay value. It has, you don't even really like open world games. I don't really look at them as like having replay value per se, because like if anything, start up a game, keep doing what you want to in that game, and just, you know, mess around, go do stuff you didn't do before, or do whatever you couldn't finish up. Or that's kind of where this game is, what this game's really nice for. If you're kind of craving to just get back into something, or you're really in the mood for Yakuza, just hop back in and do whatever. There's no like, obviously there's like a premium adventure option, there's new game plus, new game, yeah. But at this point, because they're really good at separating the cutscenes and the story apart from just the game itself, because they know that there's so much of each that if you want to cut it up and divide it into pieces and be a little bit like, if you wanted to replay the game, for example, you could do it without having to go through the whole story again, because you've already kind of, you know, been there, done that. Or just go in and do whatever you want. And when you're looking at, you know, 7+ games basically to be able to kind of do that with, holy. Yeah, the game really takes a hold on you. I think when you first start, you just can't stop. You want to, because I don't think it's till you start your second Yakuza game where you're like, oh, this is like slightly different, and this isn't all the same, and it is different story, different items, different quests, different people, different locations, different mini games, different restaurants, different stuff to buy, blah 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 blah, clothes, items, gear, and mechanics as well, like just slight different mechanics. But yeah, I think it definitely, if there was a sweet spot for Yakuza games, I think it'd definitely be 2, because I think you play 1 and you may not really get everything out of it that you could get. So maybe once you start that second game, like, okay, now I either had my fill, had my fix, or I want more. That's when you can really properly decide like where you want to go with the series from there on. So yeah, I mean, shit, you could do like 0 Kiwami, you could do 0 and 6, or maybe 7, I don't know. You could, yeah, this is in the game, because it is all it's very, what, canon? Is that what they say? The games do, there is a timeline in the games. There is a time, like, Kiryu gets older. Everyone else that's included that lasts throughout all the games, they get older. Things change. So, if you're really anal about stuff like that, I mean, yeah, go start with 0, but if not, doesn't matter. Because in my experience, I play older, newer, middle ground, whatever, and I'm like confused and lost between who's who, what's what, but at the same time I kind of like that confusion and lostness, because this is a different land, it's a foreign place, it's an all Japanese game. I don't speak that language, obviously. It makes you kind of get lost in it all. It makes you really wonder, you know, what are they going to throw at me next? And I like not knowing things, and I like, you know, being surprised and kind of all these twists and turns, and I don't know, it's fun. Gameplay's pretty cool. Yeah, What's nice about this game is if I had normally I really like cutscenes. But with a lot of games, they'll give you like a couple minutes worth of cutscenes. Really, cutscenes in a lot of games are probably like a half hour total. You know, like a rough estimate. They're not that long. They're really good, but they're not that long. With Yakuza, dude, you can literally put all the cutscenes together. Probably get a good hour, hour and a half out of it. I'm guessing. I haven't obviously like tested that or anything, but... So that's what's cool is like, you can play the main story and basically not give a fuck about all the extra shit to do, or play all the extra stuff and not give a shit about the story. And that's just open world in general. But some games will kind of force you to kind of make it a part of both. And I think here really like, yes, if you do extra stuff, you'll have that much more of an advantage in the main game. Or if you do the main game, you'll have that much more of an advantage with all the extra stuff too, because it goes hand in hand. That's the point. But I think here it's flexible just enough where if you really do want to just get through the game, you can do that. If you really want to just have the game but you don't want to beat it yet because you don't want to get to that point and you just want to enjoy whatever side stuff you can before you finish the game, you can do that too. It's pretty sweet. I'm really thankful for Sega and what they do, because yeah, a lot of other stuff they do I really not exactly a fan of. But this is cool though, because like every Japanese studio kind of has that one game they're known for, right? Shit, I'd say Sega, well, obviously they're more known for Sonic, but I mean, Yakuza's right there as well. Square Enix, they're known for Final Fantasy. Capcom's known for Resident Evil. I don't know, what else is there? Yeah, it's just a really good Japanese anime-ish game. You get to play little babyface Kiryu. He's so young and fresh. What a young guy. I think he's like 20 years old in this, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, there's obviously a lot more to the game. When I first played it, I was pretty blown away at just how much they offered and how different. Because I think starting with the newest one and going to the oldest one, kind of in a way, it was very interesting. Because I think when you go from 0 to 6, you're like, oh, the 6 is expected, it's nicer, it's better, it looks better, it plays better. That's kind of boring, that's kind of lame. When you can play the most modern one, really get introduced to it very well, the good flowy gameplay, the better controls and graphics, whatever, and then go to something like this, it's definitely not a bad thing, because it could be worse. But I'm glad it turned out to be Yakuza 0 versus the other ones. Like, I'm glad this is one of the first few games I did play from the Yakuza games, because there are some stinkers. And this was definitely a good way to start loving the series as much as I do, and to be as biased towards it as I am, and favor it above a lot of other games, and really praise it the way that I do. So yeah, this is definitely good for that, to establish that kind of connection that you can have with the game and the series as a whole, and just really start to love it and appreciate it. Be a fan of it. Look up videos. Play all the games. Play all of this game. You know, watch shit. This will get you in the mood to watch like Yakuza movies out that are floating out there, and really just start to maybe not go full into the whole Yakuza itself, but just it's a really good reminder of like, hey Japan, hey Japan's cool, hey Japan's awesome. Hey, something that's not anime, something that's just really real but still kind of goofy. And because let's face it, it goes anime, as far as anything Japan, anime, games, and then all their live action movies. Not really a fan of the live action movies, which is kind of weird, but like, I love Japan, but not to that. I'm not gonna like overdo it, you know, because like I know, I'm well aware that this is their strong suit. This is, you know, which is kind of funny because you could almost say games and anime, like, they're probably really leveled, because they've both been killing it with each of those things for so long that I don't know. I'd say anime obviously is a more accurate emphasis on Japanese culture and what they're trying to do and express and be a part of, but games are a close second. You could put games 1.5. I don't know, 1 3/4. Yeah. Yakuza 0.